Hi everyone, Rachael here, and welcome to episode number 8 of the Walk the Talk podcast. So in today's episode, I am talking to the lovely Simon Hall from Body Composition Limited. Body Composition is a global coaching company, and Simon has a particular interest in delving a bit deeper into the reasons why people want to change. So this is part 1 of an interview with Simon. There will be a part 2. Mostly because we found that we could have talked all day on this subject, but we covered one of the biggest questions that I get asked as a coach, and that is, Rachael, why can't I stick to the plan, or why can't I stick to a diet, or why can I only last a few weeks or a few months before I fall off the wagon? And this is a really, really good question. So it's something that I put to Simon, and we went off on a bit of a tangent as well. So I think you'll find that if you struggle to stick to something, or if you struggle to adhere to a plan of some sort, or you just find that you get so far with something and then you give up, it doesn't even need to be losing weight, it can be absolutely anything that you've set out to achieve, then this is a brilliant episode for you to listen to. So I will, without any further ado, I will get straight into the interview. One thing I will say is that when I recorded this interview, I forgot my microphone and I was away. So the sound quality isn't as great as normal, but it's still very listenable. So go ahead, enjoy the interview, and I will speak to you afterwards. Hi Simon, welcome to the Walk the Talk podcast. How are you this afternoon?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks very much for agreeing to come onto the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So we didn't really have a massive plan of action for the podcast today, so what I thought I could do is to actually read out some questions that I have from both my clients and from my social media following, and we can sort of have a bit of banter about those. What do you think?
Yeah, let's go for it, Cool. Who needs a plan anyway? Plans,
we don't need a plan. So, Simon is a performance coach at Body Composition. He's also the founder of Body Composition as well, and he has a particular interest in the moment in talking to me about something that I keep getting asked about recently, which is, and it always starts with, Rachael, I know what I should be doing, but I can't seem to stick to it for long enough to see results. And my response to that, well, it's easy for me to sit here and go, well, you've got the tools, why don't you just go ahead and do what you're told? Do you know what I mean? But I know it's not as simple as that. You know it's not as simple as that. So for people out there that listen to this, and I reckon pretty much everybody that's listening to the podcast will have at some point felt like this, where they've started a diet, or they've started something, or they've started going to the gym or a class or a boot camp or using a personal trainer or whatever, and they get maybe like a couple of weeks or even a couple of months in, and then suddenly something comes along and it's just, fuck this, I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
Do you get where I'm at?
I totally get that. I mean, it's such a broad topic of conversations, but This is just something that I've completely delved into over the past year, as to why people do what they do. And like, genuinely for me, one of the biggest things, or one of the biggest revelations I had this year, especially with my like high performance clients, is actually, why are they doing what they're doing? And there's a really, really powerful book, Simon Sinek, Always Start With Why. And one of the first things I've always found is a lot of people fail at the first hurdle, which is they're not 100% clear or certain on why it is what they're doing or why they've got to do it. Mm-hmm. So we've noticed this for our clients, and it's quite a powerful tool that we put in, is like really, really, really establishing why people are on that journey, what it is to them, and what value it's actually adding to their life. I think it's such a powerful place to start, because a lot of the time, especially in the health, fitness and wellness industry, you find a lot of people they're on journeys that might not necessarily be for them, or, for example, they're on a path which at the end might not lead to them being as fulfilled as what they've expected, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think when it comes down to why people can't necessarily stick to things, is first off working out specifically and getting a clear, crystal clear reason as to why you have to change. Why are you doing what you are doing? Why have you set out on this path of transformation and change? And I think as soon as you get such a deep-hearted or deep-rooted understanding as to why you're doing it, I think motivation necessarily is then just a case of seeing progress and results. And that in itself leads to people being more adherent to the plans. But I genuinely feel that the biggest step, most overlooked, is the initial step of any person's journey. And I think that's the first step, is really solidifying that foundation of why are you doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Would you agree in saying that I think a lot of people sort of embark on a weight loss journey or a performance journey or some sort of, they have a goal to change the way they look. Do you think it's safe to say that a lot of people start that journey because of the either societal pressure from other people to look and feel a certain way, or perhaps they want to, they feel pressured into it by, a friend or a family member who's maybe like sending them subtle signals that something needs to change, and that they're actually not doing it, they don't start out to do it for themselves rather than, they perhaps are doing it because of someone else?
Totally. I think, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think media as well, media for me paints this picture of people that they're not good enough or they're not doing enough. So people are constantly comparing themselves to what's out there. And it's a highlight reel. You only see the best of people's lives, and you see prime example, I did a video on this the other day actually, is someone came to me when I used to do photo shoots with a photo of me back in the day when I did a photo shoot, and they're like, I want to look like this. And I was like, that's cool if that's what you want to do. However, that photo was his idea of what everyday life would be, going out at the weekend, having a drink. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's such a big thing. Is like the media paints this picture of unreal, unrealistic results. To be honest, and I think that in itself, because people see these people with ripped physiques with millions of followers, and they think that, oh, this is what I must do.
Yeah, and they don't understand that ripped physique has had to mean that there's pretty much that person's life has been sacrificed in like every single way possible that you can think of for years and years, rather than just going on a low carb diet for a couple of weeks and just wondering why you still don't look like that.
100%. Yeah. Am I right to swear on this?
Yeah, you can swear. Yeah, I swear probably most.
For example, is one of our clients, a very big businessman, built a big empire, came to us, and he basically was like, I keep following all these guys, these fitness models and all this sort of stuff. And he said, I came to this realization. I was like, why? What do you mean? He was like, I'm all over the show. I'm traveling X, Y, Z. And he said, these motherfuckers live in a gym. I was like, they've got control. They've got everything to their advantage. I'm like, 100%. So it's like, this is where the realistic approach comes, is you've got to look at what's your life set up to achieve and what is theirs, and look at the differences and the contrast. So,
comparing yourself to what someone else has achieved is often something that I see my clients struggle with. They get so far and then they'll say to me, oh, I think I'm just going to give up now because my sister, friend, cousin, auntie is doing such and such a diet, and she's lost 8 pounds more than me in 2 weeks less. And I think if you constantly think like that, you're never going to get anywhere. But it's so hard to get out of that mindset because we're programmed to believe that we must always be better, or be better than someone else, or on par, when our body is, your body, if you're listening to this, is your body, and it's not going to change at the same rate as someone else, regardless of whether they're doing a similar diet to you or not.
100%. Everybody's different, and at the end of the day, your only competitor is the person who stares back at you in the morning when you're brushing your teeth. It's yourself. I think if you want to keep your sanity around what you're doing and keep yourself motivated for your own results, you just focus on your own path. You're walking down a different route compared to everyone else, so that should be the only route you follow. And I think as well with this, I think the more time you spend, the more energy you waste looking into everyone else's life. It's less energy in your own.
Yeah.
You can spend all day scrolling up and down social media and all this sort of stuff, burning your energy looking at what everyone else is doing. That energy could be better spent with you.
Yeah, totally. So stage number one that people often miss is what we've just covered, is, you know, understanding why you want to do something. You know, I read a lot of people saying, I need to do this, I need to do that, and that's like the alarm bells start ringing for me instantly when I see the word need, because I often say, well, actually, you don't need to lose weight. You don't need to lose weight. Why?
It's lack language, isn't it? Lack. It's like, I want. It's like, I've already not got.
So if someone, let's kind of talk through the process then. If someone, you know, who's listening to this that maybe thinks, okay, right, I'm going to actually think about why, and I talk about weight loss in most of the podcasts, because that's the kind of, you know, that's the vast majority of clients that I work with. So if someone is listening to this just now and says, right, okay, I know I want to lose weight, but I haven't really thought about why I've skipped that part, and I'm now, you know, doing this, that, and the next thing. What is it like? Do you have a specific strategy that someone can follow to say, right, okay, I want to really drill this down?
Oh, 100%. There is so many out there. We put quite a few out recently over the past couple of weeks, actually. There's something that you can do which is really, really hardwired to yourself. Like, you got at the end of the day, your mind is a muscle which needs to be worked, which you hear over and over and over again now, don't you? And I think one of the biggest things is to really, like, the superficial goal is to lose a couple of pounds. Do you know what I mean? There's more to it. Like, what is the emotion behind it? Why is it that you decided? Is it your confidence is taking it? Is it that you don't feel fulfilled? Is it that you don't feel confident, you're getting social anxiety because of the way that you look? Like, what is the real driving force behind that goal? Do you know what I mean? And I think as soon as you can get someone to start talking around it and actually being honest, you know what, the actual reason I need to do this is, I want to be a good role model to my kids. That's a good one that mothers always come up with. Or X, Y, Z. I think that's quite a powerful standpoint to come from, is actually finding the emotion behind it. And I think when you... A prime example is in that Simon Sinek's book, is with your why, it's not, you always know. For example, a prime example is this. So in the book, it basically says, why did you marry your partner? Why did you marry them? And at the end of the day, you skirt around the superficial stuff, which is like, she was funny, she was smart, she looked good, but at the end of the day, there's billions of people in the world that are smart, funny, and look great, isn't it?
Yeah.
However, the real reason, the real why did you marry that person, is because you knew that was the reason that you had to do that. And I think that's the powerful thing with goal setting, and this bit that gets missed, is you don't find the emotional the emotional feel, the emotional why behind it, which is usually, I'm really lacking in confidence. I don't feel great about myself. And I think we can skirt around the how, because at the end of the day, it's the what and the how, isn't it? I need to lose a couple of X, Y, Z pounds. But really, why? What is the importance of that to you? What value will doing that bring to your life? What will this enable you to do? And I think just genuinely questioning it and then being really honest and open with yourself is the first place. It's just being honest and being aware of why you need to change. Then a great little exercise is to hardwire this. I went travelling and I had a lot of mentors along the way, so I actually travelled around with meeting mentors and stuff like that. So that's how I planned my route, was which mentors in which country will go there. And one of them taught me this, and it's been I've actually just put it in my book that I'm writing, but it's about hardwiring it, and it's about building the pathways to your why. And essentially all you do is you start off first, write down 1 to 20. So 1 to 20 should be easy, but a lot of people really struggle. And write down 20 reasons why that goal is important to you. So you do the positives. Why do I need to do this? Why? And then essentially after you've done your 20, that's the warm-up. Now do another 30 and get it to 50. And a lot of people, you've got to dig deep and really find the deep-rooted reasons as to why you need to change.
Yeah, and that's a lot. 50 is a lot. That feels quite overwhelming.
Try and do 20. A lot of people really struggle at 20, but do you know what? Those last final 10, you see people break. Like, it's like they really, really are honest. And I think that's such a great, powerful tool. And then the other way of doing it, or you can do both at the same time, especially the flip side. What will not achieving this give you?
Yeah.
Or health. Do you know what I mean? And you get that big contrast. And I think that's such a solid set stone for someone to just fly when they realise that this is why I've got to do this.
Yeah.
But going back to the topic of conversation, I strongly believe that a lot of people fail at the first hurdle. And I think this is why so many people do 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 weeks, okay, and then it just falls to shit like directly after.
Yeah. How would you think if there's someone listening to this that's maybe at that stage of feels like they've fallen off the wagon and can't seem to get themselves back, get their heads back in gear? What would you suggest they do? Go back to that list that they wrote and remind themselves about why they started in the first place, or is it a more practical approach?
Well, if they've done that, that's not going to be the reason, because they'll find it. And like I said, people know when they've got that. When you know, it's like, right, this is why I've got to do what I've got to do. So then that's usually not the issue, unless circumstances have changed and now that's not the goalpost.
Yeah.
But I generally, the next step I'd look at is the actual change, the stress of change. So most people, for example, here's a paradox. You've got Doreen. Doreen goes to the gym. She's just started out at the gym. Doreen's never been to a gym in her life. She's never eaten healthy. But now suddenly she starts to change all of her food in one hit. She now has to go to the gym 5 times a week whilst fitting in kids, XYZ, and having a social life and XYZ. And a week, that change might be okay. But then 2 weeks, it might start creating stress.
Yeah.
And essentially it's the whole you change too much, you change nothing approach.
Yeah.
Which you see in New Year, don't you?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, that's the big time for it, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, the same people with the same goals every year, and it's like, okay, I'm going to join the gym, I'm eating clean, it's great, you see it all over me, and then suddenly they just disappear.
Yeah.
But,
that brings something else to mind that I've been thinking a lot about recently. And actually the reason that I've been thinking about this whole thing recently is because in the week between Christmas and New Year last year, so between 2016 to New Year in January, I ran a short sort of free program for anyone that wanted to join it, and it was called Dreams with Deadlines. So actually setting goals for 2017. So going through the whole why process, writing down specific goals with timelines and breaking it down into small chunks, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm revisiting it with people now, and people like. The vast majority of the people that joined that challenge that I've got back in touch with me in the last week or two have said, oh my God, I've actually achieved all of that already and it's only October. And that just goes to show the power of a few things. Number one, actually setting intentions once you know why you want to do it. Breaking it down into small chunks with the larger goal in mind.
Totally.
And actually breaking it down into, right, okay, so what do I need to do each and every day in order to get to, that goal that's maybe 9 months from now, and understanding that this sort of change, it doesn't happen in 2 weeks, and in some cases it doesn't even happen in 2 years, but actually understanding that it's not the end point that's the most important part, it's the everything that you need to do. And actually this gets me really excited because I know what it feels like to be excited about what you can do each day to get yourself to that place that you want to be. And eventually that place that you want to be, it kind of fades out. And, you get there, but you don't even really realise that you're there until you look back and you think, whoa, 9 months ago, I wanted to be here. I was actually there 2 months ago, but I forgot all about it because I was so busy enjoying the process of getting there.
I think it's all like transformation photo story, isn't it? Like when you don't look at your photos for like 6 weeks, but you just churn out the habits, the behaviours, the actions, and then you look back and you're like, oh. But every day you don't see any change. Every day it's minuscule. You don't see a thing. You just see the same person in the mirror.
Yeah, I think I have been that person who has weighed themselves every day and looked in the mirror every day and went, I still can't see a difference. Fuck this.
Yeah.
That was me. And it's it still rears its ugly head every now and again. Ask Polly, my coach. And sometimes I'm like, I send her a message, I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. And then I remember, well, actually, do you know what? Like, get a grip, Rachel. This is not how it works. You know this. You should know better.
Yeah.
You should know better. habits of a lifetime take longer than 6 weeks to break.
Oh, massively.
God, yeah.
If you've been conditioned from childhood or whatnot, like it's the whole thing. Right? When you're a child, you're emotionally upset. Mother gives you a chocolate bar to shut you up, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And realistically, every time you get upset or emotional, you're reaching for chocolate. That conditioning is still playing itself over in its head.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's going to take a lot of time to break. It's not just going to happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you're aware that you keep doing that, then you can go, oh, you can change the cycle.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Step one is becoming aware of, being mindful of what you actually do, and that's when I talk about emotional eating with clients. The first thing I do is get them to actually, accept that is what is happening. Like, we could go on for hours and hours talking about mindful eating and actually, being present when you eat and noticing habits that happen. Because if you don't, if you don't start to notice them, then how can you, reprogram if you can't even, if you're not even noticing that they're happening? But habit change, that is a big one. That's like, we could talk for hours on that, but...
Well, habit change is a lifelong change, isn't it? You see it, here's a macro plan and here's a training plan, go and do it. But at the end of the day, you can do that, they'll get what you want, and then as soon as you're done, they'll go back to the end. You've not changed the foundation of the pyramid of change.
Yeah, it's like when you wake up, or when you sit in your car, you put your seatbelt on before you start driving. Like, you don't consciously, or I don't consciously think about it.
You should put your seatbelt on.
Yeah, you should put your seatbelt on. But, I'm already halfway up the street before I even realised that I had put my seatbelt on, because it's so automatic. And, nutritional and exercise habits like that can become automatic, just the same as putting your seatbelt on when you sit in the car. But it doesn't, it doesn't happen with 2 weeks or 3 weeks of consistency. It happens over the course of, I would say, I hate putting numbers or, timelines on things, but I would say probably at least 3 months of doing the same thing over and over and over every day to even start to, ingrain that in your automatic, in your brain, where it becomes unconscious.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, have you heard of Mel Robbins?
Yes.
The 5 second stuff. I think her stuff is fantastic about how to break it.
Yeah.
Like, make yourself aware of what you're trying to change. Always the key starting point, self-awareness. But it's the whole example of, like, when you put in your pant leg on, which foot do you put in first?
Uh-huh.
And you actually have to think about it, but you'll always put the same foot in first, won't you, into your pants?
Yeah, that's so true.
And you say no, like, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's true, very true.
But then she said, like, next time you go in to do it, stop, because you're aware of what you're doing, and then try and do it with the opposite leg. It's a completely different feel, or different, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say, is until you actually realise that this is happening, that you can do a different course and get a different feeling and a different result.
Yeah.
So it's a funny little thing. So yeah, I think definitely that's a huge one, is as to why people don't stay true to the plans.
Yeah. What do you think is the sort of, if someone was listening to this right now, and I'm not putting a number on, how much weight someone has to lose, or that kind of thing, but if someone is sitting here thinking this mountain is just too high, like I can't see the end of, let's say someone has to lose half their body weight, for example, to be within a healthy weight range, or because I work with a lot of clients like that, and that feeling must feel really insurmountable, because it is such a long journey. Like, you're talking 12 months, maybe 18 months to even start to feel like a different person, or the person that they say that they want to become. How long should people be thinking when they're embarking on something like this? So hard. I know that's a really tough question.
It's into what? Feel change, see change?
To start feeling and seeing change, real change.
It depends what you're looking at, doesn't it? It's like what you're looking at and what you're monitoring. You'll notice. You always notice immediately with people. They'll immediately see differences in the way they feel, the way that the sleep is. I mean, within a week, 2 weeks, most people can feel change. They feel better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They feel like, wow.
Yeah, exactly, definitely.
So yeah, and then I think more like the visuals, you see it like every second, third week, you start to see things more, don't you? I think the longer people wait, the more that they see.
Yeah.
I think everyone needs to find what measurement tool is best for them.
Yeah,
and everyone needs more than one measurement
that's
tool.
what I was going to say.
I mean, at the end of the day, everyone uses scales, don't they? And it's just stupid. Do you know what I mean? It's like they're so inconsistent in the measure reads, and they just become demotivated. And a lot of people put the self-worth on the scales, which sucks. Yeah. So what should be a positive result tool becomes very negative very quick.
Yeah, that can switch off your motivation within a split second if you take it seriously enough to think that, you know, because you've gained half a pound or a pound or whatever that particular week, like that's it, it's over.
Yeah, well, it's amazing, isn't it? You can do a million great things. You can feel great. You can start getting great results. But if you in your head are weight focused and you have put a pound on, but everything else feels better and you feel better in your clothes, you're getting compliments, it all gets overshadowed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no, I forget all this now.
Yeah, I was going to bring up the sort of tracking progress thing. Someone's just decided to hoover outside. This is great for the sound quality.
I can't hear it.
Oh, that's good.
Throw something at them.
Yeah. Measuring your progress, how vital is that?
Oh, it's huge. Seeing progression adds to motivation. It's as simple as that. Any personal trainer out there, you will lose a client if they do not see results. It's as simple as that. It's the same with someone holding themselves accountable. If you're not getting results, you're going to demotivate yourself, you're going to stop. So the more methods you're using to see progress, the easier it is to keep yourself fueled and moving forwards. Progress is motivation, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. This is just, especially for me, like I've always, you know, tracking my own progress when it comes to either my CrossFit training or, you know, if I've got body composition goals on the go for, you know.
Oh yeah, I saw you're at competition at the weekend as well.
Yeah, it's this weekend. It's going to be on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
The SFN Expo in Glasgow.
Good on you. Destroy it.
Yeah, it'll be good, I'm sure. So, yeah, I mean, I've been trying to increase my performance in CrossFit for the past 2 years, and, you know, I'm only now getting to the point where I actually feel confident enough that I can go into a competition, and that just goes to show, you know, like 2 years worth of, you know, daily grind and, you know, doing things when you don't feel like doing it and all these things.
100%. But that's the thing though, people see the end result, but they don't see all the graft and everything that goes into it. You know what I mean?
No, and I think that's part of the problem, because a lot of people think, you know, because, you know, the whole highlight reel of social media, and they see the before and after pictures, they see, you know, all the lovely food and all that. But
you broke in a month ago though, did it?
Yeah, no. So. It's like I suppose if you went onto the Walk the Talk UK Instagram and you saw all the lovely pictures of the food and the before and afters, and, you know, my food that I cook, but you didn't see the big massive
I always get food envy of what you post.
yeah, but, you know, you don't see the mornings where I run out of time to have breakfast and I end up having a bowl of Cocoa Pops, or, you know, you don't see all that, like, that stuff. You don't see the days where I'm lying on the floor in the gym, like, feeling like death.
Do you know what as well, though? Like, that's such a powerful thing, is to just go, it's okay to have those days.
Yeah, it is. And it doesn't mean that you're a failure. And I think chasing perfectionism is something that stops people from ever achieving anything, because there is no such thing as perfection. Well, I don't think there is. And one failure doesn't mean that you need to throw in the towel, or, you know, what you deem as being failure. Like, for me, having a bowl of Cocoa Pops for my breakfast isn't failure. You know, it happens once every now and again, and it's bloody brilliant. Can you really get anything better than Cocoa Pops? I don't think so. Maybe Honey Nut Cheerios, right enough. Maybe they're a bit better. But
do you know what's really good is this is Cocoa Pops and Oreos.
Oh my God! Don't even go there, man. But the thing is, you know, if you have a bad day, doesn't mean that it's the end of your journey. You know.
No, but that's unfortunately what happens, isn't it? People are in that mindset where if something bad happens, I'm gonna, like, you've got to struggle. Like I did a post on this the other day. Like you've got to have these bad days because that is challenging you as to what you actually want. Like if you can have them, change would be easy. Everyone would be there.
Yeah.
Everyone would have the businesses. Everyone would have these chiseled Adonis's physiques. Everyone would be in amazing shape and strong. But at the end of the day, you've got to have these struggles to change you, to change the person. And if you're not having the struggles, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And this is my fail-proof process that I go through with clients and myself. If you feel at the end of the day that you've had a really crap day, something really bad has happened that's thrown you off completely, there's one or two things you can do about that, and that I often say, get a pen and paper, write down what happened. Write down what happened. My husband came in from work late, and that meant that I was late doing this, and then I couldn't get dinner, and I phoned the Domino's, and I felt like a pig, and now I can't. Now my stomach's killing me because I've eaten all this crap, and I've put on 5 pounds just by looking at the pizza, and now I feel like shit. So okay, right, that's probably like that's real life. Like, write it down. Yeah. Write down why it happened. Write down what you learned from it.
Massive. That's powerful. Write
down how you might tackle it differently the next time it happens, because it's going to happen again. Yep. And it's going to happen again and again and again. But the difference is you can react to it differently because you've learned from that experience. And if you don't learn from that experience, it will keep occurring and keep occurring and keep occurring until you learn what it's sent, what it's been sent to teach you.
Exactly.
And that's a quick process that you can go through. So for anyone that's listening, if you feel like you've fucked up, write down what happened, write down why it happened, write down how it made you feel, write down what you'll do differently next time it happens, because it will happen next time. And understand that it's, you go to bed, you wake up the next day, and you start like you would any other day.
Exactly.
Sounds simple. Exactly. Sounds simple. I wish it was as simple as that. It is actually as simple as that, to be honest.
It is, but it's accepting that. Like every time you put change out there, we say you're going to change something, you will get given something hard, and you will have to choose different in order to change. And it could happen the next day. It could, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, definitely. So that's that's the biggest question that I'm getting asked at the moment is, Rachel, I can't seem to stick to anything. Why am I not sticking to it? And I think we've kind of covered quite a lot of bases there with the answers to that.
Definitely too. The why and the changes, the stress of change is a big one. But then again, the other thing can be is the thing right for you? Is the method what you're using?
Yeah.
Right. Like if you enjoy carbs and a social life, is going on a ketogenic coaching plan smart? No. Yeah.
No, it's definitely not. It's definitely not.
Yeah, so, I think there's plenty of reasons as to why, definitely. But I think the two big powerful ones there are that. And the other thing I also see as well is people won't adhere to things if you see this a lot. Like a plan must be designed around the individual's needs. Now, you notice this, a lot of drop-off rates and a lot of struggle rates with clients happen when they are given, make this your life. You must go and do these days. I don't care. You've got to do it on these days. So they're delegated to and managed, and they're not led and coached. It's like, you've got to do this.
Yeah.
Like bad management, but for nutrition and training.
That's it. Yeah. Exactly. So tell me a little bit about body composition and what you do.
So, body composition, we serve people all over the world, from the general popular, to celebrities, to performance athletes, XYZ. And essentially, it's just how do we bring out the best version of our client, be it from the mindset, nutrition, the programming, and we address everything as a holistic approach for that person to move forwards. Because something I found from coaching for over a decade is that how we do one thing in life is how we do another. And although we might be looking for that permission slip of change in the way that we look, that could actually be reflected somewhere else. So it could be like, this person, then this was the importance of the why. This person might actually want the confidence from the way they look, maybe to get out of a relationship, maybe to go and start that dream job. And the thing I've personally found is the first permission slip of change is usually the fitness industry. I'm going to change myself. I'll get confidence here, and then I'm going to change more about my life. And for me, that's what I thoroughly love seeing, and that's what body composition encapsulates: is how do we bring out the best version of the user, essentially.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, because a lot of, I notice that with people that come to me for coaching and things, it's weight loss on the surface, but deep down it's not. It's really not. And it's
never is.
Once you get to that point with someone and they actually tell you exactly what it is that they really want to achieve, like, I'm in a really crap relationship, or my job is horrific and it's making me really stressed and I want a new job, but these all type, but using the I want to lose weight sort of card is the easier option, I suppose.
It's an easy place. I find it's an easy place to take control.
Yes.
And I usually find if people have got a hectic life, just taking control of these little things is a great way for them to feel certain again.
Yeah.
And they can start taking more. And I think you start meeting your human needs first in a productive way. Instead of controlling through sedation techniques like alcohol, chocolate, overfeeding, you've gone, do you know what, this isn't good for me anymore. And then it's like, I'm going to start here. And then they start moving forwards. And our job, I don't think it's our job as coaches to make sure that they are. Do you know what I mean? Following through, doing the best, and changing all areas of life, and not just one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, your health and fitness is the one thing, or the food that you eat, and the whatever you eat and drink, is probably the one thing that a lot of people actually have full control over in their lives. Like, I often say that to clients, like, this is the one thing that you have control over right now. The rest of your life might be completely out of control in whatever way, but the one thing that you do have control over right now is what you put into your body and how it makes you feel. Straight
up. And you literally change from the inside out.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is as well, like, when people, you've got two choice mechanisms, haven't you? You've got logical and you've got limbic system, emotional. And I think people get into that much. People's lives can be that chaotic or stressed, or they're not addressing certain things where they're always acting on emotion. So, like, emotion is energy in motion, isn't it? You for example, if you're in a bad place, you're stressed or you're not feeling great, you're going to reach out and grab for things.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think, genuinely, I've lost my train of thought. But, genuinely, that's it. But I think once people start becoming more aware of it, then you can make better choices. So instead of, do you know what I mean? Usually I would act and I would go for the bottle of wine. It's like, do you know what? I'm actually just going to put my shoes on and go for a walk. And people find different mechanisms around stress and dealing with situations.
Yeah.
And they find their own way out. It's an amazing thing, isn't it? Like, just plant one seed and suddenly everything else starts to grow. Totally. It's fantastic rewarding career.
Yeah, very much so. Well, thanks very much, Simon. I think we've got loads more to say in this. Perhaps we may record a part 2.
Hey, I'm more than happy to.
I'm just putting you on the spot.
I told you this would happen.
Yeah, no, it's been great talking to you today. I think we'll definitely do a part 2 to this and talk a little bit more about this, because I can talk about what to eat and how to exercise all day long, but at the end of the day, if you don't have this in, the mindset in place, then everything else, there's no point in doing everything else.
It's the foundation. If you don't address why you do what you do, you're always going to go back to old habits, and it's as simple as that. Like, you can look great for a moment, but you don't address the habits, good luck in 3 months' time,
Yeah. So the book that you talked about, and the worksheets and things that you were talking about as well.
Yeah.
Is there?
If you send me podcast.
Yeah, if you send me the link to that book and things, I'll put that in the show notes as well as the links to yours.
It's actually not wrote. I just started writing it. Give me a month, it'll be done, and it's going to be one very awesome tool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward
to
it.
But this is what it is. It's essentially everything I've learned in my entire career, business, the works, how they all interlink, and why people fail, genuinely, like why people struggle. And I genuinely believe if you fix these first couple of steps, then suddenly nutrition is easy. Then suddenly, do you know what I mean? All these things that people screw up on, because they focus on their what and their how.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I will.
No, it's really interesting. As soon as that's out, I'll let everybody know, and also I'll just link to your social media accounts and things, because your Instagram photos are very cool. You've been making us all jealous with all your holiday snaps.
The thing is, the workations, although I'm in different spots all over the world and doing silly things and silly challenges, I do work. And there was one I put up where I was actually led on a beach, and I got stranded in Spain. And on the last day, one of my Spanish friends sent me a photo when I woke up, and he was like, "Mate, we've been with you every day. This is the first day you've actually stopped." Yeah. So I'm like, oh God, it made me realise, I actually went away to continue to work.
Yeah, see,
so there's a lesson there as well.
I go gallivanting all over the world as well. And I think a lot of people think that I'm just out on holiday and stuff, but yeah.
Oh, it's your highlight reel.
Yeah, that's my highlight reel. But you don't see me waking up at 4 a.m. every day to do my 8 hours of work so that I can go and play after that.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, cool. No, but we'll definitely get you on for a part 2 and we can talk a little bit more about this, but I think we've kind of really touched on a few fantastic points. I think the people that listen to the podcast will definitely get a lot out of that, and I've actually got a lot out of it, and I'm going to go and do a bit more research myself as well, so thanks very much for that.
There's more to come.
We'll speak to you next time.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited about it. And thank you as well for having me. And also, you do great work. So.
Oh, thank you, my dear. Thank you, my dear. So an absolutely massive thank you to Simon for that wonderful interview. It was an absolute pleasure having a chat with you, Simon, and looking forward to part 2 of this as well. We've got a lot more to say on this subject, I'm sure. And to you guys, the listeners, thank you very much for tuning in to this episode of the Walk the Talk podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode and you haven't listened to any of the previous episodes, I suggest you start listening, because we've got a great library of episodes now with some fantastic interviews covering everything from nutrition to exercise, and also touching on things like gut health and what you can do to improve your health through your gut. So there's loads of really great information on the back episodes of the podcast, and if you have enjoyed listening today, please make sure you head on over to iTunes and leave me a podcast review. It really means a lot to me. If you have listened and you haven't reviewed the podcast yet, please go ahead and do that. And just before I go, I wanted to share with you an event that I'm going to be running in Glasgow on the 21st of October. So that is actually, if you're listening to this on the day it's been released, that will be 1 week today, or just about a week and a day. So next Saturday, the 21st of October, and this is an amazing seminar that I'm doing with a friend, James McCourt from Hidden Depths Coaching. And the both of us are going to take you through a seminar which is called Stop Dieting, Start Living. And it's a full day workshop with lunch in between in Glasgow, just off the M74, if anyone wants to make the journey from England or from up in the Highlands, just off the M74. And I'm going to be talking about everything from why your diets haven't worked in the past, right up to what you can actually do, and a step-by-step process that you can put into place to start losing weight without going on a diet. And it's going to be an invaluable workshop, so please head on over to Walk the Talk Fitness /seminar for more information on that. I'd love to see you. You can buy a ticket there. At the moment, as I talk, there are only 6 tickets left, so there are very limited spaces available, so go ahead and have a look at that. I'd love to meet you if you're listening to the podcast and want to make a little weekend of it in Glasgow. I guarantee you will not be disappointed by either the workshop or Glasgow. So I will see you there, hopefully. That's www.walkthetalkfitness.co.uk /seminar. Thanks again to Simon for today's interview. And as always, thank you, the listener, for listening. And I will see you next week.